Sorry for turning it early, Miss Bills. Something happened. I was watching Phineas Gage. What happened in the 80s, like 1880? No, 18 something. I think I don't remember much. It was very interesting to see the video, learning about him and how the nerves affected his life, and how the brain is very important to us, of course. One of the questions is, why is Phineas' story important? Well, it's basically to learn about what's happening in the brain and how important it is, like I said before. And not only just like scientists focusing on the, the effects on brains and how something this could occur would happen to anybody else. And then in the case is like very interesting, and the damage on the front lobe and frontal lobe and occipital and parietal. And his personality, that was the brain. What I said is the occipital, parietal, and frontal were all damaged by the explosion. And then his brain, it resulted his personality. Like I said, front lobe is mostly speech or language. They have their own. They have their own. They have their own. Like if I said that front lobes are very important, it is. Occipital, front lobe. Let me see if my thing is on. Let me find it. It's on my notes thing. Like temporal. It was my not. I think it was probably missing, but the hearing was affected. Occipital, basically like movement and light in this color. He couldn't see his eyes, like this eye or this one was really damaged and he couldn't see, so he was basically blind from the where the pole was like struck. And then parietal was basically language and words. He was not acting himself. He was like mumbling his word. And frontal, of course, speaking and muscle movement and judgment. And his judgment felt like when he tried to pick up the girl's skirt. Me, that was not him. That was just like, I don't know what the pull caused him, and broke some nerves, and he wasn't able to judge or speak or react quickly. In my notes said 3. What number 3 says? What does the frontal cortex recognize, and could this account personality change? Yes, it could. The account of his change, it would have regulated his personality, like I said before. Like, he talked to the kids very weirdly and showing his damage, and then picking, not respecting girls, and then trying to kill himself and not thinking processly. Finally, fine. Do you think it was what was most shocking part? I think the pole in the hand and how the effects of this damage caused, and and all, and basically just seeing how the nerves could damage, basically, like how the damages work, like damages on the nerves done, and without the nerves they were probably important. And this is why it's important for us to know about nerves and how they're important, basically. And if you could talk to Phineas, what would it cook him? Kill, like, if I could talk to Phineas today, what question? First of all, I would call him a dork for not paying attention, and if he was working with explosions, I would have been careful. And I wouldn't call him dork, but still, like, I would have figured it out. And I would have studied, and I would have studied, or I would have been talking to Phineas. I mean, if I was in his time, I would have stopped him from happiness. Maybe he would have been different by now, but I felt like this happened for a reason, and basically learning, making us think twice about our nerves and how important it is. And it's shocking because what his personality changed and how the brain was like the brain was really important, and that damage caused change, and probably those nerves weren't able to process. And I'm sorry for mumbling. This is my trying to make this right, and it's very hard for me because I have distractions. So I'm sorry, and thank you.